Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the November 29th, 2019 edition of the From the Bench podcast. I'm your host, Mark Janish. Going to be with you here for about the next 15 to 20 minutes, giving you some local sports notes and also going over with you my NFL picks for this coming week, which I believe is week 14, if I have it correctly. As far as local sports, the number 2 seed Santa Barbara High School football team will be playing Division 8 for the CIF 7th section title on Saturday night at 7 p.m. at San Marcos High School of Santa Barbara. You can go if you're in the area of Santa Barbara during the holiday weekend and you want to see some quality high school football. You can certainly make your way out to San Marcos High School and see Santa Barbara play Sunnyside at Fullerton. Sunnyside at Fullerton is 11-2 on the year, and they like to run behind Juice On, running back for Sunnyside. And as far as Santa Barbara goes, you can look for 6'4" junior quarterback Deacon Hill to be the main man for Santa Barbara as far as throwing the football. He's had 12 touchdowns in his first three CIF Southern Section games. So go out there and make it a good Saturday night. You might want to dress warmly. It is a bit chilly after some recent storms here in the local area. So go ahead and take advantage of that. A couple other notes pertaining to the local Division 1 mid-major UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara is going to be playing Grambling today at the Thunderdome on the campus of UC Santa Barbara. Game time 7 p.m. And most importantly, from the Gauchos soccer perspective, the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos are in the third round of play. They beat Cal in their game number 1. Game number 2, they beat St. Mary's in Moraga, California. And they will be playing in Bloomington, Indiana tomorrow morning here on the West Coast. If you're available at 9 a.m. or you want to DVR the game, 9 a.m. on the Big Ten Network, that'll be UC Santa Barbara facing the University of Indiana. IU will be looking to go to the Wake Med Soccer Center. That's in Cary, North Carolina. That's where the 2019 College Cup will be played. So looking forward to that match for UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara has won 2 national titles in school history, one of them being the 2006 College Cup, the other being a 1979 men's water polo title for UC Santa Barbara. So anyway, we're going to move on to the picks for the week. As far as the NFL goes, going to give you the over-unders and the points and who I would take. The Rams are going to be at Arizona, and the Rams are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 47. I'd probably go ahead and take the over at this point. The Chargers are going to be at Denver. This should be a sleeper game. The Chargers are favored by 3 in the Mile High City. Weather could be a factor, so I'd probably go ahead and take the under at 38 at this point. Green Bay and the Giants should be an easy win for Green Bay. Green Bay favored by 6. The over-under is 44.5. Go ahead and take the over against the Giants. Green Bay should be winning that game pretty handily. Carolina and Washington. The odds makers have Carolina favored by 10, and the over-under is 39. The over-under is about right. I probably take the over in this game. However, I do not necessarily like the point spread here at that particular point. So Carolina by 10, I probably say Carolina by 7. Baltimore in one of the games of the day, if not the game of the day, Baltimore and Lamar Jackson facing the 10-1 Jimmy Garoppolo-led San Francisco 49ers. The over-under is 46.5, and Baltimore is favored by 5.5. I have to go ahead and take the Ravens in this game, take the over at 46.5. Indianapolis and Tennessee. Indianapolis favored by 2. The over-under is 43.5. Go ahead and take the over at Indianapolis. Indianapolis, of course, still fighting for the AFC South division title. Philadelphia, after a poor outing against Seattle, will be playing the hapless Miami Dolphins. Philly by 10. Go ahead and take the points. I'd probably go ahead and take the over at this point. Once again, look for Miami to go down to another loss. Philadelphia with the win, keeping pace, by the way, with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to them another day. Maybe on the next podcast we'll talk about the status of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett. But that will not be today. At Kansas City and Oakland from Arrowhead Stadium. The over-under is 51. Kansas City by 10. I don't necessarily think I would take the points. I think 10's a bit too much. I think Kansas City will win the game, but won't be by 10. Probably be about 7. Take the over at 51. Tampa Bay and Jacksonville. Jacksonville's underdog by 2. Go ahead and take the under at 48. Take Tampa Bay and the under in this game. New York Jets at Cincinnati. This is a run to the first round draft pick of the NFL. The hapless Cincinnati Bengals winless on the season are underdogs by 3. Go ahead and take the Jets and the over at 41. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. This is going to be a rematch of a couple Thursday nights ago. Dust up between Mason Rudolph, Myles Garrett, and those two teams. It looks like the third-string quarterback for Pittsburgh will probably be starting. I don't necessarily think Mason Rudolph will be starting. Cleveland is favored by 2.5 at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's the underdog. I'd go ahead and take Pittsburgh at this point. They're playing quite well. Go ahead and take Pittsburgh in the over at 38. New England at Houston on Sunday Night Football on NBC, the National Broadcasting Company Network in the United States. New England should be favored, and they are by 3. The over-under is 45. We'll see what Deshaun Watson has in store for Bill Belichick and the Patriots and what Bill Belichick will be able to do on Sunday night. Go ahead and take New England and the points and the over at 45. And finally, Monday, the Minnesota Vikings will be visiting Seattle. Seattle is favored by 3. They need to keep winning to keep pace with the San Francisco 49ers, although the San Francisco 49ers have a follow-up game next week against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, who just won yesterday 26-18. So we're looking forward to the last quarter poll of the season. Next week, I'm going to come back with not only my picks, but we will be taking a look at the playoff seedings. It's time to look at those, and currently Seattle is number 5, and I believe Minnesota is number 6. The first top 2 seeds get first-round byes. Seed number 3 plays seed number 6, and number 4 plays seed number 5. That's how that usually goes in each conference as far as the wild card goes. Go ahead and take Seattle and the over. The over being 50 being the over-under. Take the over, and Seattle and the 3. Seattle will hopefully be going to 10-2. That should wrap it up for this short edition of the From the Bench podcast. You have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Next week being the first week of December already. 2019. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, you're welcome to do so by going to accessmediaglobal.com. Go ahead and click on the PayPal links there in the upper right-hand corner. Thank you for listening to this edition of the From the Bench podcast. And for right now, I'm Mark Janish saying so long, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone, and you have a great weekend.